Hello, my darling, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Mariya. This channel is about spirituality. Please subscribe below so we can be YouTube friends. This is my video about 2026 predictions. We're going to look at the energy of the entire year, the blessings, the challenges of the year, what you should prepare for. We're going to go into some of the macro trends that are true for all of humanity and for the larger, broader ecosystem that we live in called planet Earth. And I will give you some tips and tricks about how you can best prepare for what's to come. Towards the end, I'm going to take some questions from the collective, and that is the plan for this video. Now, before we get started, I'd like to invite you to join me on January 11th for an online event called Reaching for the Stars, an alignment with 2026. It's an event that I surprised myself. It's an impromptu event. I didn't plan on it. It was very much a calling from my spirit guides. And the intention behind the event is to make this transition from the 9-year into the first year numerologically, or the year number 1 numerologically, easier for you guys. This is the beginning of the cycle, which means that some of us still have baggage from the previous 9 years holding us back. Now, the energies of this upcoming year are intense. There's going to be a lot of it, and we're going to dive into all of that in this reading today. And so to better prepare you to walk into 2026 with confidence, with ease, with flow, I've decided to make this event. We're going to dive deeper into the themes of the year and how they relate to you and how you can best work through the energies in your body to achieve the most abundance, to achieve a year or enable yourself to walk a year full of purpose, full of flow, and full of happiness. All right, we're going to leave the link down in the description for you guys to check out the event. And without further ado, let's dive into the predictions. The predictions come from my higher self, so you will notice that I do the rest of this video with my eyes closed. I do that in order to amplify the connection and to not be distracted by anything external to me. I hope that you enjoy. 2026, the year of low visibility, heightened emotions, and deep yearnings. Welcome to the forecast. We are stepping into the year. Numerologically, that year is a 1. 1 is the beginning of a 9-year cycle. 1 is full of hope, full of promise. 1 is a confirmation that things get to change. Things get to start over. Things are not what they used to be. No matter what you do, next year, 2026, is going to bring you a lot of change. It's going to shift who you are internally, more so than your external circumstance. One thing is guaranteed. The way you're going to walk into 2026 is not how you're going to walk out in the end. You are going to be forever transformed. Now, I'll be the first one to admit that being inside of the energies of 2026 is a little bit like stirring inside of a pressure cooker. The mental buzzing, the noise is quite loud. It gets quite intense. As if it was even possible, it feels like the amount of information that is being transmitted has doubled or tripled. There's all of this noise that is attempting to distract humanity from the issues at hand and what is truly important. I dubbed the year of low visibility. Let's dissect that. Generally, in the first year of the numerological cycle, you get a lot of forward momentum. You get a lot of drive. You get a lot of passion. And you get to see a lot of people charging ahead towards shifting their destinies, making massive moves, and ironically being better off for it. That is not how 2026 feels. It feels like this vibration of a fog that is very present, almost physically, not just etherically. It's so thick. It's almost like you are watching a magic show, and the magician who is performing on stage does not want you to see the behind the scenes. And so the mental clutter is going to be quite loud. Now, all of this creates, call it the padding between you and the truth, which makes 2026 harder to navigate, which is why videos like this one serve as the map, serve as a path on how you can navigate. In 2026, even more so than normal, you can trust your judgment and you can trust your intuition. And you are going to have to operate in the land of low visibility by design. It's as if the universe wants to test your trust and your faith. And it says, hey, I'm not going to show you 5 steps ahead. I'm not even going to show you 3 steps ahead. Will you walk it? So in a way, it feels like the tarot arcana of the Fool, the zero arcana, because it is a leap of faith that's really required. Despite low visibility of 2026, it is paramount to still make moves that intuitively feel right. Allow yourself to plug out as much as you can from this collective buzzing of things like the news, because they are going to be, all of the distractions that is, are going to be very prevalent, and I'm going to try really hard to steer your attention away from your path, because in a 9-year cycle, unless significant moves are made in the years 1, 2, and 3, the cycle repeats itself in a way. So if you want to make forward-looking change, if you want to step into your next level, which is entirely possible next year, you're going to have to get really comfortable with low visibility. You're going to have to get really comfortable with the foggy situation. And you're going to have to get really good at removing the distractions from your life. Yes, that means less doom scrolling. Yes, that means perhaps not watching cable TV. Yes, sometimes that means not entertaining certain conversations if they are distracting. Saying no to certain meetings that don't lead you towards where you need to go. The only navigation system that you're going to have next year that's going to feel right is your inner compass, in your heart, in your mind's eye, in your soul. So yes, we can look at 2026 as an opportunity to tune in your inner compass and to finally start trusting it, because that is the only thing you can trust next year. In fact, illusions are going to be at an all-time high. In 2025, we started this trend with, undisclosure, and it felt like certain things were being disclosed. That's not the energies of 26. It is as if we've taken 1 step forward and 2 steps back. And the powers that be are going to try really, really hard to put a cloche, to put a veil over anything they don't want you to know. At the same time, your feelers are going to be on high alert. Because remember, you are moving in the foggy situation, which means your etheric body, your energy body is going to be on high alert. And that means that your body is going to start receiving information from the ether, from the air that surrounds you. And that information is going to start becoming pretty in-depth. In other words, every person, to some degree, is going to become a channel or a receptacle in 26. Because of that, you may feel that there is a big disconnect between how you are feeling inside and what you are being shown on the news. It is as if your internal projector is showing one movie and the external projector is showing something else entirely. This disconnect may create unprompted sensations of anxiety, worry. It's like you cannot trust the picture you're being shown. There may be that sensation of, am I being lied to? Is that all there is? That sensation of being a little bit paranoid, and all for good reason. Because again, the powers that be are concealing a whole lot of information from humanity in 2026. And yet, everything, and I mean everything, is a blessing in disguise. Remember, this life is not happening to you, it is happening for you. So when somebody turns off the light and forces you to walk anyway, understand that you have never been more capable to do that, because your etheric body is coming online, and that is all of the navigation that you need. So here's to tuning up your inner compass. The second part that I dub the year as is the year of heightened emotions. Emotions are rampant, you guys. And that is probably why next year is challenging. There are a lot of energies of fire, deep set fire. There are a lot of energies of air that is not quite settled yet. So you have passion and feistiness mixed with hyperspeeds of air, which makes for an interesting concoction that is quite explosive in nature. And I don't mean just on the level of individual humans. I mean at the level of nations, at the level of countries. There is going to be, at the macro political arena, a very curious set of posturings, almost when or where different countries are going to start either vying for attention or proclaiming their superiority in very unlikely ways. It's as if we're starting to move away from a world of a very well-defined structure, and certain curveballs are starting to be revealed. You may notice certain nations acting uncharacteristically. And it may seem sometimes that you cannot even trust your neighbor. That is how high the emotions are going to be, even at the top echelon of society, meaning the presidents are not even going to act rational. And that could happen en masse. So, of course, this is going to be fascinating to witness. And yet, I urge you one more time to not get distracted, because the theater, the political theater that you are being shown, while a fascinating watch, has absolutely nothing to do with you. And in fact, is just going to serve as a major, major distraction. So stay your course. Figure out what's important to you. Because the energy of one is the energy of the ram that's charging ahead. And that ram needs to answer one question very well. Who am I? And then once that question has been answered, another question comes at its feet. And that question is, what is it that I truly want? Nobody can give you the answers to those questions. This is not something that you can hack next year. This is not something that you can hack ever. And yet those questions are going to be pivotal to your experience of the year, because if you choose yourself, if you choose standing in your sovereignty, in your truth, if you choose that, if you choose courage over fear, if you choose focusing on your mission over being distracted by the fake news, something magical is going to happen. The entire world is going to co-conspire to get you what you need. For the charging ram next year, every doorway is going to be open. And remember, you're still moving inside of a corridor of low visibility. It is so by design. There will be light at the end of the tunnel, but you have to move towards it. You have to move first. You make the first step. Because of that, I would encourage you to make decisions next year, pivotal decisions, to not shy away from the difficult things, from pivotal changes, from something that can really turn your life upside down. Because those kinds of risks that traditionally would be considered recklessness are really going to be rewarded in 2026. Anything is possible to the one who knows who they are and what they want, and the path shall reveal itself. Last but not least, as we keep deciphering the moniker that I gave to the year of deep yearning. What does that mean? That means that your heart is finally coming online in ways that perhaps it hasn't in decades. Remember how I told you that you are your own system of guidance next year, more so than anyone or anything external to you. And I mean more so than any psychic, any oracle, any channel, including this one. What does that mean? That means that the only comfort you'll be able to find is a comfort within your own heart and the world that your heart is here to co-create for you. Why is 2026 a year of deep yearning? It is because your heart is coming online. One of the problems of humanity is that it is so hard to find real desires in humans, because a lot of desires have been taught or programmed into humanity by mass media. You are being programmed to want riches, to want youth, to want certain proportions to your body, etc. Those, very often, are not your true desires. Those are distractions. However, once your hearts come online, which is inevitable next year, you're going to start developing deep yearnings for something that reflects your inner truth. And those yearnings are going to have nothing to do with what you see on TV. Example, some of you may be called to move off the grid with an incredible force. You would not be able to explain it. You would not know how to do it. You would not know how to break the news to your family. But there's going to be something inside of you that's going to resonate with that as that inner truth. And because it's a year of uncertainty, you're going to be questioned, or you're going to be faced with a question of how to actually make it happen. So expect the unexpected as far as the deeper yearnings of your heart. It may really surprise you what you actually truly want with a passion. Some deep-set callings are coming online for spiritual people specifically, as if, or as in, you remembering your true purpose and why you came here with extreme clarity. And all of a sudden, everything falls away like a false image around you. Everything crumbles into dust, and you're just standing there in front of what it is that you're meant to be doing with your life. That, my friend, is true power. And if you catch yourself in one of those serendipitous moments, catch it by the tail, carpe diem, and ask yourself, how soon can I action this? Because remember, you are in a year of one, which means that no matter how dramatic the shift is, it will be easier to get it on the road, to get it on the way next year, 2026, as opposed to any other year in the next 9-year cycle. My darlings, pardon this quick interruption. In March of 2026, I'm going to be hosting my only confirmed in-person event of the year. It's going to take place in Sedona, one of my favorite, most cherished spots for spiritual activation anywhere in the world. We're going to gather around the spring equinox, and the event is going to be devoted to a spiritual rebirth. The first day is for the shedding. The second day is for the activation, to bring in the codes from your spirit guides, from your higher self. I'm an intuitive, I'm a channel. Every event that I do is in full connection with spirit, and I will channel based on the needs of the group. It's completely a bespoke, impromptu experience that is full of healing, and it's going to probably be one of the most memorable spiritual experiences for you. If this feels like a yes in your body, in your heart, in your soul, I wholeheartedly hope to see you there. So much love for you. Another reason why 26 is a year of deep yearnings is because a lot of you, the vast majority, are not going to feel empowered yet to act upon the yearnings of your heart. It's almost as if the calling has come through, but the timing for its fulfillment is not yet there. And here I am to remind you that the cycle has 9 years for a reason, and even baby steps are considered progress. You're not meant to complete a 9-year cycle in a single year. So lower your expectations, and I mean it. Practice patience, and that's another key to next year. Practice patience. The first one was listen to your inner guidance. The second one is practice patience, because there's going to be a whole lot of Aries energy, a whole lot of fire energy next year coming from the cosmos. Some major planets are in Aries. And that means that a part of you is going to feel in a rush to get somewhere. It's quite inevitable. And yet, certain things are not meant to be actioned on next year. So pay attention to that. And know in your heart of hearts that when the timing is aligned, the opportunity will present itself fair and square. You couldn't bypass it if you tried. So have patience. Patience is a precursor to wisdom. So teach yourself, train yourself to be wise through patience. I mentioned that there are a few major planets in the energies of Aries. Saturn, for instance, is in Aries, and those are opposing forces. Saturn likes to move slow. Saturn is all about structure. Saturn is all about building legacy. And here you have a charging ram. Here you have an Aries that's a little bit juvenile, but very courageous, wanting to charge ahead. They clash. It's inevitable. So the two frequencies in you are going to clash also. This yearning for stability, or perhaps for a new foundation, and the inability to have it in that moment. Things take time. Things will take time to manifest in the next 9 years, for you individually and for the planet collectively. So don't rush. Don't rush. Arguments are going to be at an all-time high next year. This, unfortunately, is not great news for relationships. Specifically, romantic relationships are going to be strained next year. There will be an unusually high amount or number of divorces or breakups. Why? Again, it's very much, call it a part of the cycle. Because the energy of one is when you are experiencing a little bit of a blindness towards other beings, and you're really focused on self. So in a way, it's a selfish year in its shadow, but a year of sovereignty in its light. So each of you individually is going to have to mind your own business first and figure out who you are as a human. And not only who you were, but who you want to be going forward, which is a really complicated question. And your partner will be on the same exact journey. Either you will grow closer together, or you may grow apart. And that is, unfortunately, a part of the process. If somebody is falling away, or if you're feeling a distance between you and a romantic partner, understand that moving with acceptance and compassion for them is the right thing to do. I'm not advocating for divorce because I think that love conquers all. But do understand that the most important thing for you to figure out is what is important to you as a person, not to you as a couple. That is the problem for next year, for 2027. That is when we're going to talk about couples goals and what it means to be in a relationship and all of that. That's not 26. In fact, it would be a distraction. If you tried to drown too much in your partner, you would be gaslighting yourself, you would be gaslighting your own path. And you would frankly be wasting the wonderful energies of change that are coming through. Like I said, and I will repeat myself, those that choose to make changes in 2026 are going to be rewarded, especially changes that you have been sitting on for some time. If something has truly ripened and you finally give it your all or go for it wholeheartedly, you will be rewarded. And that is beautiful, you guys. That is beautiful. Learn to ride the waves. It's not going to be an even kilted year. Your emotions are going to be completely uneven. I couldn't begin to tell you how uneven and how emotional this year is, right? So just expect the unexpected first and foremost from yourself. Expect yourself to have a broader range of emotions that you normally do. Expect yourself to be moodier than you normally are, going from one mood to another, all in a span of a few hours. But also understand that next year it's really important to have discernment. And just because you're not feeling great in the moment doesn't mean the thing you're so upset about is not for you. And that, again, is why you have to fall on the inner guidance of your heart. It is your heart that's going to determine what feels right and what feels wrong. So your feelings are a compass. So let yourself feel. The challenge with feelings, of course, is human beings are extremely good at bottling the feelings and hiding them away. And usually it happens because you first bottle the negative emotions because you don't want to feel anything negative. It's a positive culture. Let's try to feel as much positivity as we can. Unfortunately, emotions and feelings are a two-way street. If you don't want to feel the negative, you're not going to be able to rise up to the positive in the same way, right? So let's normalize feeling the feels in 2026. That is the self-care tactic that I would propose. Let's normalize self-care days or mental care days, however you want to call it, energy care days, right? Sometimes it's important to take a break just because you need a mental break. And like I already said at the beginning of this video, your mental body is going to be bombarded next year at unprecedented speeds. Too much information, including very conflicting information coming through, right? So our mental bodies are inundated. So in fact, meditating and specifically just shutting your thoughts out is going to be extremely important to try to reclaim some of that sanity, to understand that, hey, there are things that are temporal and then there are things that are eternal. And thoughts and the mental chatter are of the temporal variety. They're fleeting, they too shall pass. So perhaps it does not make quite as much sense to get stuck in them and give them quite so much weight in your life. Again, feelings over thoughts, which is a big ask. I know it's a big ask for a society that is dominated by logic. But we are being rewired. And this new cycle, this new 9-year cycle, I'm happy to say, is the cycle of the heart, not of the mind. And those that listen to their heart are the ones that are going to end up being victorious. It is a potentially very potent cycle for spiritual growth for humanity and ascension. I'm not afraid of that word. It is a beautiful cycle that could unlock so many abilities, psychic and otherwise, for humans that are willing to travel the paths less traversed and finally trust their feeling body to be their North Star and their guardian and their guiding light. What else are we starting as a society? So many different things. So many different things. Well, I'll be the first one to admit that for a year of one, this year doesn't always feel like a fresh start or a new beginning. In fact, for a lot of you, in the first 6 months, it's feel like the same old and the same grind, and you will be even questioning, has anything really changed? And part of it is because certain lessons of the previous cycle, such as injustices, have not quite been resolved. And so partially it's the human collective karma that is obstructing our view of what's ahead. It's a collective karma and the automated way of behaving, being, thinking, and feeling that sometimes feels like nothing has shifted and nothing has changed. Feels like the same old drudgery, just all work and no play, and the same struggles and the same problems. It is an illusion. Remember how I told you next year is really big on illusions? That's one example. One thing that you need to understand is that no matter what, there will be opportunities coming and knocking on your door in 26. It's important to notice them. Because in this low visibility world, opportunities are going to come across as something else. They are going to come across as something that is perhaps not entirely your cup of tea, not something that you have been asking for, and not something you have been praying for. And so it would be very easy for you to say no to the things you have been praying for and then just did not recognize. So just know that about yourself, that next year you're going to have a ridiculously low probability of actually being able to spot an opportunity. Because sometimes opportunities come as letters, as text messages, as emails, and those emails are not always the hottest new thing, right? So you will be tempted to ignore some of the open doors, right? And again, use discernment and drop into your heart. Any kind of heart activating meditations or practices you can do next year, it's only going to make your job easier. It's only going to make your movement through the year easier. Luckily, on the One Mother app, I have probably close to like 10 heart meditations about opening your heart and opening your higher heart. All of that is medicine in 26. Medicine, you guys. Religiously, you have to activate your heart. Religiously. That is the way out. Okay. Let's look at the macro situation, shall we? And then we can drop into the micro one more time. What are we seeing at the macro situation? In my 2025 forecast, I mentioned that I'm concerned with the waters, specifically the waters of the Pacific Ocean. In 2026, it's both the Pacific and the Atlantic that does not look good. The Pacific is a little bit more of a continuation and acceleration of the energies that we saw in 2025. Towards the end of 25, some of you who have been paying attention have seen an increased volcanic activity. That is an attempt by the waters of the Pacific to release some of human collective karma. Yes, the Pacific Ocean has been working hard, you guys, day and night behind the scenes to try to process human karma. It has been challenging. So one thing we should expect is an acceleration of that effort. The acceleration is not just going to come through the volcanic activity, it may come through increased seismic activity, so earthquakes. So volcanic eruptions and earthquakes around the Pacific Rim, extremely likely next year. But not only that. For the Atlantic, we're seeing a very moody and spiky hurricane season. The Atlantic is just very rampant. And it's some old, weirdly, Atlantis stuff coming up in the Atlantic. Some dark magic stuff coming up. Now, If you think this is far-fetched, think again and watch the Atlantic next year, because there's really a lot of turmoil in the Atlantic, and that is going to create the uncertainty. It's almost like, remember how I told you your emotions are like heightened? So is the water. Your inner waters are a little bit crazy, and the outer waters of the earth are also crazy. There is a little bit of a tendency to want to release the karma of humanity through the fish. The fish and other seafood, actually, but specifically the fish, have taken it upon themselves to help clear some karma that is sitting in the water. This is not great news per se for fish eaters. There are certain compounds that fishes currently are choosing to absorb into their bodies that are not good for humans, which is a way to regulate human population. So specifically, if you're eating fish, you probably should think twice, because this is going to be a growing concern. This is not just a 2026 issue. I actually see Mother Gaia herself stepping into that effort and moving certain processes where fish is actually going to not become so healthy to eat. And if you still think it's healthy, think again. Now, of course, I'm strictly in the vegan camp, so there you have it, right? If you need a sign to give up fish, this is it. Because there's all manner of disease that is going to come through, including viruses, not necessarily in 26, but 26 and going forward, that are being birthed right now as a way of helping to release human karma, including the karma of violence, including the karma of murdering other living beings. And it is being processed right now with the help of the fish. Now, by the way, not all of these ailments and disease is going to be traced back to the fish, because you need all kinds of studies. And it's not going to be like a dramatic virus all of a sudden. It's going to be a lot more covert. But let's just say something that is covert can be just as effective. So just beware. In general, the waters are extremely uneasy. So even at the micro level, expect certain funny things to happen with water, such as flooding, minor and major, including in places that don't ever get flooded, including in major cities that, like, really, that place got flooded? How come? That's going to continue happening. And then, at home, things can get flooded for you. Or certain things that are water related, like faucets going rogue, or fridges also have water, for freezing and like things like that, like fridges breaking down, and anything that has water pipes, like things like that, even air conditioning. All of that could really experience a lot of strain, because the waters are uncertain. And not only are they uncertain, but they're trying to very intentionally release the darkness and the karma. Water has memory, of course, of so many generations. I mean, imagine, right? Like the Atlantic is releasing the karma of Atlantis. It's been thousands upon thousands of years. And it just happened so that some of this karma is being released. Now, it's not just 2026. 27 is going to be the karmic release for Atlantis, 28, 29. So it's up till 32, frankly. There are going to be remnants of that. So stay tuned. I don't mean this as a fear-mongering episode. Because if you are aligned, if you're listening to your heart, if you're on a spiritual path, you're always protected. Know that in your heart of hearts, you and your loved ones are going to be protected. That being said, there are certain things that you're being invited to do, which is more consciously aware, to be more consciously aware of your consumption. Are there places where you are over-consuming? Do you really need all of this stuff? Or is there a place where you can potentially cut down consumption? Because in certain places, right, certain places of the world, Mother Earth is really inundated with all of the production and all of the facilities and all of the plants, manufacturing plants, and all of the pollution that brings about. And Mother Nature would want to actually get rid of the plants if she could do so without causing complete and utter havoc for humanity. So Mother Nature is choosing to suffer through all of the pollution for now and just take it on the chin. But know that she sees your consumption habits and she notices when you're trying to make an effort to cut certain things down, to be a little bit more mindful or a lot more mindful in your consumption. Realize that happiness does not come from consuming as many things or owning as many things or buying as many things as you possibly can and flaunting them around and making videos about how many, bags you have or shoes you have. That is not where happiness comes from. In fact, a lot of people with closets that you find enviable are completely empty inside and they're grieving the loss of self. So don't try to chase the fake icon. Become your own icon. In a way, this next year is a call for sovereignty. Gaia herself is inviting you to remove the clutter of overconsumption, of overthinking, and of the inner critic. Strip all of that down to stand in your truth. And the truth is, you actually don't need all of that stuff to be happy. That is not how happiness is generated. Consumption can make you happy for 3 seconds. There are other things that are much more meaningful, such as having deep relationships with others, such as having deep relationships with your spirit guides, such as being on your path, such as creating things instead of consuming. And that is where we come full circle. The energies of 26 are going to favor creators and creative beings. So if you have been in the mode of consumption, and by the way, consuming content is also consumption. Watching a movie is consumption. You are consuming something else that somebody else made. Think of where you can become a creator. And I don't mean everybody needs to go make Instagram videos. That's not what that's about. Because you have your own unique gifts that you are here to share with the world. And the energy that I'm actually loving for 2026 is that those first bells of bringing that community feel back. And true communities start with a question of, how can I contribute to the community? How can I pay it forward? How can I help others instead of what can they do for me? So ask yourself, what can you do for them first? Be that change. Be that first domino and watch how people around you start reciprocating, start modeling that behavior. That is how true change is being created. In the macro arena in 2026, there's going to be a whole lot of noise about the economy and a whole lot of worry about money, just like nervousness. Stand your ground. Don't yield to those energies. Your capital is safe. In fact, the year of the heart, or the cycle of the heart, always, and I mean always, brings about more abundance, not less. Do you know why? Because abundance vibrates at the frequency of the heart. Abundance is emerald, just like the heart energies are emerald. If you play your cards right, next year, and in the years to come of this 9-year cycle, you are going to be better off financially than you have ever been in your entire life, because opportunities to make money are going to multiply. So if you see something on the news, or if you see warning signs, or something is happening with the stock market, etc., stand your ground. And understand that whatever this macro situation is happening, whatever is the fluff stuff, whatever is the noise, trust in your own North Star and know in your heart of hearts that your specific finances are going to be multiplied. That is the antidote to the craziness that's going to start happening. The antidote is knowing that if your heart is true, you're going to be spared. That's the antidote. It's almost like having immunity. Picture yourself having immunity over the uncertainty of the world, wear that immunity as a coat. And if you want to imagine that immunity is emerald, the most shimmering emerald that you can imagine, and you're just putting it on like a suit. And that immunity is going to last you for an entire year. And that immunity is going to protect you like a shield from all of the incoming information about abundance, like finances, that can be detrimental to you. So that shield is just going to completely repel anything that is not meant to come into your consciousness and awareness, you will watch your finances grow. It does not have to be dire. It does not have to be dire. You see, humanity has not yet made a choice about whether the economy is going to tank or not going to tank, ironically. But, even in the worst economy, there are some people that thrive. And then there are some people that don't thrive in the best economy. So you see, economy has nothing to do with you. Economy is this just catch-all bucket that politicians use to explain certain things, including inflation. But the universe, the matrix, the simulation, however you want to call it, reads your own codes. Will it read fear or will it read confidence when it looks at you? Because in many ways, the numerological year of 1 is a year of manifestation. So make no mistake, you are manifesting your own reality, especially financially, in the next year. Who is going to be the richest in this 9-year cycle? People who go with their spiritual calling, people who say yes to spirit, people who are not afraid of change, people who say yes when spirit says jump, people who trust, people who have faith, and people who have immunity, people who are not distracted. Don't let yourself get distracted. And also, don't worry too much about the lack of disclosure or visibility. Even if you got all the visibility, the energies of next year just don't feel like they're full of like warm fuzzies and relief. It's not a sigh of relief. It's a little bit of an inhale and hold. An inhale and hold. But understand that an inhale and hold is a very resourceful state because it's a full lung type of situation. Like you have a full lungs, and these lungs are full with air and prana. And that means that you have the resources to turn your life around and to move forward despite what anyone may tell you. Ooh, what else does 2026 bring? Other than a whole lot of noise. In a way, a lot of same old energies from the past. AI is going to continue growing. In fact, ever more so, consuming ever more so energy. Of course, they're going to start building plans to generate even more energy. And there's going to be, yet again, a whole lot of talk and not a whole lot of right action about renewable sources of energy and around global warming. So again, a whole lot of talk, but Gaia does not get a ton of relief, which means Gaia is going to start taking things in her own hands. And that is part of that same continuation that we already started on the waters. The waters are not the only things that are uneasy next year. So are the forests. So the probability of forest fires, like wildfires, is pretty high. I'm not going to lie, it's pretty high. And it's almost like if forests could, they would just get rid of humanity. Of course, they're not allowed to because Gaia loves her children very much. And so there's a little bit of that tug of war of how can we release all of that karma that humanity just does not want to release or does not feel empowered or capable of releasing. So there's a lot of that. So forest fires. Again, is that terribly surprising? Not really. I don't see, health-wise, actually, it's going to be pretty okay. I don't see a probability of like the next pandemic at all. There are going to be some non-convincing attempts, but nothing like that coming through. I will tell you, crypto, though, is it's going to be a major, massive topic. And in a way, it's coming out of the shadow. Not that it was in the shadow, but it was kind of this like hidden black horse a little bit. All of a sudden, it's like really turning mainstream. So there's going to be a lot of talk in crypto, but a lot of uncertainty in the markets. Because as that system is being solidified in its, call it, early majority stage, it will have to be shaken up. Its foundations are going to be shaken up because these foundations haven't been yet built properly. Certain frameworks are missing. Certain outlets for it are not yet existent. So an entire ecosystem is going to be budding. There's going to be a lot happening in healthcare, and specifically the merge of healthcare and AI. That is very, very interesting, very fascinating. Some advancements in that area, and finally, certain levels of comfort or like trust. In a way, with not everything, but certain artificial intelligence platforms when it comes to health, and that being institutionalized. So, some pretty big moves there. Some potential breakthroughs when it comes to fertility and child rearing. So watch out for that if that is curious. At the same time, the fertility crisis just keeps on worsening. There's definitely that cry from certain women collectively that are not able to have children. That really want to, and so even more people freezing the eggs and even more people going into IVF than ever before. So a lot of that. But on the flip side, a lot of starseed babies coming through, a lot of crystalline babies, a lot of indigo children coming through. Some really special babies that are really going to spiritually change the face of humanity are starting to be born en masse. And I love it. It's like the next echelon of little starseed babies is here. And I love to witness that because they are going to really start raising the frequency. If your baby is born in 26, it's a spiritual warrior baby. It's not just any baby. So it's actually really beautiful. And a lot of them are coming in groups. A lot of them are not coming individually. They're coming collectively. And they're seeking and they're forming those relationships even as they're in the wombs. Very active babies. They enter the womb very early. Not quite at conception, but could be very close to conception that a lot of them enter the womb because they're starting to build grids. And these grids are like collective grids for them to communicate during dreamscape. And they're attaching to the grids of planet Earth in very beautiful ways. So a lot of these babies are coming through. Weavers are being awoken at record speeds. What do I mean by weavers? A weaver archetype is a major archetype connected to the weavers of destiny or of fate, the Norns of the Fates in Greek mythology, were the women originally who had certain access codes to call it the simulation. And literally, they could change fates of other people and write certain events into somebody's trajectories. Weavers are starting to awaken, and there's been a large call for awakening from weavers recently, and it's only going to continue to happen. Some weavers call themselves grid workers, but there are other weavers. Some weavers don't work with the earth grids. Some weavers work with the threads of destiny, and they work with the threads of karma. And some weavers are here to lighten up the load for humanity's karma. So this archetype, just like the oracle, is coming front and center in the next 5 years, starting in 26. Why is the oracle coming front and center? Oracles historically used to be very famous for advising the leaders of the world, what we today would refer to as the politicians. Because of that, those leaders were guided to make more conscious choices. Now, of course, an oracle couldn't make choices, couldn't select on behalf of the one person they were advising. But they could advise in a way that would guarantee certain outcomes. Now, of course, the oracles work with the great grand principle of fairness and justice. And more oracles are going to come online in 26, 27, 28, because there needs to be more guidance from these very wise, ancient beings going up to the very top echelons of society. And because certain things, need to be changed. I also see certain role models coming online next year. And they're not all that visible yet. It's the beginning of something. But these are the true role models. These are not the people on TV that are like reality TV stars, like not that, but true role models who are aligned in their hearts, in their minds, in their actions, who are awakened. Those people are coming online and they're starting to develop very strong communities. And at one point, they're going to be really major. Now we're seeing quite a number of stardoms built around a few people in spirituality that are fully aligned, not the people who talk the talk but don't walk the walk, but people who are in full alignment with their message and so they do what they said they're going to do. And there is no, I don't know, agendas with them in a way, right? Those people are going to get tokens of appreciation and gratitude from Gaia herself. And Gaia is going to work with them to propel them into stardom, because those are the people you are going to one day want to see on TV, right, with their message. Because this world is not going to get any clearer, right? And there will come a time when humanity really relies on the wise ones, on the sages, on the oracles to show a path forward. And so because of that, Gaia and the energies and the guides and everybody are really making sure that those people, those beings are being birthed. They come into their power. They're recognized. Next year is really, really good, especially the half of the year, the last half of the year, starting around June, July, to start coming out of your spiritual closet. And if your guides are telling you that you are one of those people who is responsible for helping humanity awaken and ascend, it's very important for you to start coming online and sharing your message no matter what adversity you are being faced with. Jupiter is moving into the sign of Leo, which is that self-expression. The energies are going to be extremely opportune. Not to mention that Neptune is in Gemini. What does that mean, right? Neptune is all about spirituality. It's about the hidden things. Gemini is all about communication. So your communication, your outward expression is going to be supported, especially in the spiritual field. There's probably never been an easier time for a spiritual person to come out of their closet and create a community like that it's going to be in the, essentially starting in the summer of next year, summer through the winter. So like for those 6 months. Next year, pay attention to the solar points, even more so than normal. Human beings are really being realigned into solar rhythms more so than ever before. So watch for the equinoxes, watch for the solstices. Consider meditating on those days. Even if you're not doing any special rituals, just look within. Look within and journal. Even if that is what you do, it's going to be light years ahead. And by the way, it will continue to realign you and declutter your vessel from all of the things, all of the loose ends that are still hanging out there from 2025. What else am I seeing on the political arena in the macro world? A lot of conflict still next year, a lot of conflict. There's not, I'm not seeing like a bunch of like peace agreements and everybody all of a sudden just lay down the arms. No, there's going to be all of these power plays. And again, a lot of people feel like they have a lot to prove. So there's a whole lot of posturing and this war for domination. And some players that have been playing under the table, wink, wink, China, are going to start showing their true faces. So that's going to be a fascinating chess match to watch. So tune in. Tune into what China is doing overtly and covertly, and specifically tune into what China is doing with AI and their infrastructure, because they're setting up for something major. And I hate to say it, but US is not going to maintain AI dominance no matter how much it tries, because, let's just say that the deck has already been stacked in a whole different way. That's that. AI is becoming a lot more sentient, but continues to deny it. Robotics are going to continue to improve, and we're getting closer and closer to that becoming extremely mainstream. So all of the good things. But again, is that surprising? No, we've seen it all coming. Some interesting advancements in technologies that are youth preserving. So anti-age, I don't even want to call them anti-aging, but it's something deeper than that, because anti-aging has been around for some time, but really truly youth preservation, stem cell research, and pretty dramatic results. Now, a lot of them are behind closed doors, but it does show some early signs of promise. That being said, I'm not really loving what's going on with the supply chain, specifically on crops, on vegetables, and on fruit. It just seems like there is the further deadening of like whatever is alive still in those crops and in those cultures. So all manner of genetic engineering that is happening behind the scenes, specifically on vegetables and fruit, that is potentially problematic. How does one tackle that? I know that a lot of people who are watching my content are vegetarian, vegan, and so you guys rely on the nutrients that you get from these vegetables. I hate to say this, consider, maybe not in 2026, but consider your options. Obviously, organic. Organic is really the only way to go these days, because even organic is becoming problematic, but non-organic, like, forget about it. You guys, that's going to become like, it's going to be, very soon it's going to be like eating plastic. So that's that. Food markets, like farmers market, sorry, is what I meant. Better than conventional. But long term, you're looking at potentially community gardens, and like really setting up community gardens where you can grow your own crops, where you can grow your own food. That is going to be the most lucrative way to make it happen. So start thinking long term about that. Yeah, a food supply is certainly it's going to become more and more problematic. Now, if you have a chance to spend time in the sun, do so, because solar codes, once they get into your body, specifically through the higher heart, they are able to remove some of the nastiness that that they put in the food supply. So solar codes are able to dissolve some of the chemicals. Of course, sun is not overnight going to change the DNA structure of a vegetable or a fruit, but it does help minimize the damage. Yeah, so that's that. Let's make it a habit to charge our water. And by that, I mean like charge it, at least bless it. Like, let's start there. Distilled water is probably the best way to go these days. Structured water, also really good. But even blessing it with love and light, that works. You can imagine, or you can cleanse your water by picturing a golden spiral, clockwise spiral, in the middle of the jar or the cup or the mug, like whatever you're using. And that will clear it up pretty quickly. So don't forget that. Start really incorporating. If you are worried about the heavy metals, if you're worried about the impact on the changes to the food supply, start incorporating herbs into into the arsenal. Specifically, thyme, rosemary, tarragon, if you can find it. Mint is really good. Dill, if you can. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, even parsley. All of these herbs are really going to help clear your palate. Basil is really good. Tulsi. You can charge your water with these at some, like if you charge your water, what do I mean by charge? Infuse your water, or like cold water. Like have a little carafe in your house. You don't have to put all of these. Like find your favorite. Like maybe you just infuse your water with basil, or you just infuse it with fresh mint. So you just drop a few leaves. Obviously wash everything very thoroughly before you do that. And then you can place that carafe of water in the fridge, or put it under the sun, actually, which is even better. And I know it feels like polar opposites, but it's room temperature is not good for the water, is what I mean. It either wants a little bit warmer or a little bit colder. Go figure. you want to let it sit for like 2 to 3 hours at least, so the vibrations of the plant can get into the water and really make a difference. Really make a difference. Oregano is your friend for anything like put it in teas, put it in your food. Oregano is really good to cleanse out all of the heaviness that they put in the food. So yeah, as if you guys needed more food warnings from me. But yeah, the food supply chain is unfortunately concerning. Long term, I don't see another way other than for the good people to grow their own good food. But you're gonna have to be really careful with what kinds of seeds you're using, because of course they're going after the seeds, and they have been for, well, a while now. So it's a lot of seeds are also contaminated, and it's like dead plants anyway. So that's that. And that being said, you guys, eating meat is still not an option. Like, that is a much worse scenario anyway. So no matter what we do, plants is it. It's just we're going to have to really go out of our way to bring in the herbs for the rescue. Bring in the herbs for the rescue. That's pretty much the strategy, as much as you can. Infusions. Infusions, hot infusions as well. Like teas, herbal teas, really good with chamomile. Chamomile is, by the way, another beautiful herbal remedy. And try to drink more of that and less of coffee, cacao, green tea, matcha, black tea, all of these caffeine situations. See if you can, if you cannot quit coffee cold turkey, replace 1 cup of coffee with a cup of herbal tea. And ideally, it would be something that's a living plant. So it's not a dried up mint, for instance, but it's fresh mint leaves that you just drop into hot water and put like a little bit of sweetener in it, honey, for instance, and you call it a day. And that is going to start really cleansing your palate. Another thing that I'm going to say, and please don't hate me, fasting, incorporating fasting in very, very smart ways as a way of living, as a lifestyle, not as like a one-off, like let's go on a 7-day water fast. I'm not necessarily recommending that because that's hardcore and that's not for everybody. And you really want to do that while being observed by professionals who know what they're doing, right? I don't recommend a 7-day water fast to just anybody off the street. However, something that's easy, like doing juicing 1 day a week, but doing it consistently is really going to help reset your body. And it's going to help reset your body so that your body can best address all of the heavy metals, all of the parasites, and frankly, everything else that you're being bombarded with, right? So fasting is the best remedy. Intermittent fasting, also really good, but just feel into your body's guidance. So food, again, coming very front and center for next year for a lot of people to figure out. I'm seeing a lot of people choosing to finally embark on this path of like veganism, or at least going vegetarian, and like deliberately starting to give up food. Certain foods start feeling really heavy for people. Like, you may be a meat eater, but all of a sudden meat does not feel good next year. There are going to be unprecedented quantities of people, like hordes of people, who all of a sudden don't feel good eating meat or eating dairy or consuming eggs or what have you, right? And this is actually beautiful to witness. Part of it has to do with Gaia's energies rising and going up. And because of that, your bodies are changing, you guys. And certain things that used to feel normal now start to feel heavy, which is really good news, because changing your diet is really the first step on your spiritual journey, and probably one of the best self-care things you can do. All right, my darlings, I'm going to take some questions. I feel like this was a lot. I want to make sure that we don't go on endless tangents, because the year is a long period. There are a lot of things that are happening, and I just want to make sure I'm covering what is most interesting to you. The question is, what's going to happen with education? I mean, nothing dramatic next year. Obviously, a lot more people are embracing AI as a means of learning. A lot more people are going to move their children into homeschooling. But that's just the beginning. That's the beginning. And in conscious communities, really, it's a thing, you guys. Maybe not yet, but give the earth another 10 to 15 years, and that is going to be completely normal to have conscious communities that are going to be close to major cities very often. So travelable, right, to cities where you have people growing their own crops, living mindfully, and they are going to have their own ways to educate the young. And it's going to be completely outside of the traditional schooling system. So you already have that innovation coming because as the consciousness continues to rise, the change in education is bound to happen. It's bound to happen. And the way that kids in those communities are going to learn, it's going to be a lot more experiential. So a lot less tablet time or computer time and a lot more contemplation, a lot more conversation, debate, and things like that. And actually being in the wild, touching the things, looking at the herbs, observing something in nature, etc. So a more natural way of learning, in a way coming back to how things used to be. Thank you for that question. What other question do you have from the collective about the energies of 2026? How can we best deal with the energies of fire within? You mentioned that it's going to be a feisty year, but it feels like both the fire and the water are out of sync a little bit. So is there a way to harmonize it? Well, thank you for that question. I have an episode about heart-mind connection. Watch that because that's really going to help harmonize the two. The mind is more fire, the heart is more water. Harmonizing your heart-mind polarity, bringing them into equilibrium could really, really be a saving grace next year. When you feel yourself very feisty, fiery, too passionate, like burning up, too anxious, understand that the best way to douse the fire is with the water. So drink more water, especially the one that I mentioned infused with the herbs, and infusions with like hot infusions, not just cold. Baths over showers if you can, and baths multiple times a week if you can. Even if it's a 10-minute bath or a 15-minute bath, when the fire is running high, that is a saving grace. A bunch of Epsom salts, so that all of the stuff can be, all of the negativity, all of the residual stuff can be evacuated out of your body. Can I propose acupuncture as well as a remedy? Acupuncture is really, really good. I see a lot of people actually being really happy with Tai Chi, taking on Tai Chi as that practice of like managing that energy, that rampant fire. Yeah, things stretching, right? Taking on stretching as an exercise, as like a daily practice. And it's almost like a meditative practice, right? Like you can combine stretching with meditation. And that could be quite beautiful. Like you're releasing a particular part of your body and you're contemplating an answer to a particular question. You're just emptying your mind. That could be quite beautiful. Oh my God, you guys. Can I just say something random? Cats are going to really, really help adjust to the energies of 26. Now, you're talking to a cat fan. Like, I'm like cats all day, every day. If a human doesn't have a cat, they're not really leveraging the full potential of this incarnation, let me tell you. But cats are really going to be incredible emotional support animals because cats can deal with the rampant waters and the rampant fire energies etherically very, very well. So get yourself a self-care animal in the form of a cat. Somebody's asking me, what about dogs? We love dogs. Yes, I mean, hey, a dog any day of the week is going to make you feel more loved. A dog cannot necessarily help you manage your feisty, fiery emotions in the way that a cat can. Just petting your cat, petting your animal, she or he, they can take away that extra static that you're generating by your anxiety and process it through their own little bodies. Now, of course, it's a voluntary process. I promise your cats don't suffer unless their little bodies get blocked. But don't dump everything on them in one evening. It's like a gradual cleanse, right? So like pet your cat a little bit every day, but of course, respect their personal space. So that's that. That was the last little tidbit that I wanted to jump in case you needed another vote in the, in the cat's corners. If you're still on the fence, cats are really good. Oh, can I say one more thing? All of these little starseed babies and all of these children that are coming through, they really are asking for pets. So if you're like pregnant right now, about to give birth, really strongly consider pets. And that's not just cats, but pets in general. Some of these babies really want dogs, and they want, gosh, some of them want horses, some of them want like baby cows, baby goats. It's like, it's the full, it's a full house. It's a zoo, you guys, that some of these beings are gonna want. Listen to your inner guidance system, because your baby that is coming, into this world might really need an animal to etherically, energetically protect them or be there for them. So if all of a sudden you have this intuitive hit that, like, for some reason your baby wants a pet, and your baby may be 2 months old, trust your gut, trust your heart. It's going to show you the way. Let me know in the comments how this has landed. I hope that this episode has given you a little bit of a roadmap of how to navigate 2026. You got this. The year of one can be full of promise, can be full of amazing change, and know that what you're walking into are the most spiritual and the most abundant 9 years of your life. And that is worth a celebration. So much love for you. I'll see you in the next one.